arrested for, I don't know, incitement and someone that murdered 7 people. It's not the same. It's not the same.
I'm surprised they even allowed. I'm assuming they tried to not release people with blood on their hands.
No.
How did Israel allow that?
No, a lot of people released have blood on their hands.
I know. How did they even, like, that shouldn't even been a talking point, but it's easy for me to say, lying here in New York, compared to being on the negotiating tables in Doha.
So the last girl that was supposed to be released with the 3 girls, the 4, they have said will be released on Saturday. The 4th girl. So is there confirmation? Because she was alive, and then they said she was alive.
No, so the
4th girl still on the bill?
They're all released.
The old deal or part of the new deal?
They were all released. All those women. The one soldier that was not released last time was released today.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, cool. So I need to go look. You said the whole weekend you were watching TV, and she obviously was the one not released because they said she was part of another structure, or whatever you call it.
You're talking about the civilian. Yeah, you're talking about the civilian, I think. And she was kept by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And also she was released today. And also the remaining female soldier was also released today.
She was supposed to only be released on Saturday.
The female civilian was supposed to release. It was released last Saturday before the soldiers.
Correct, and then they held it back and said it was a different fraction, and then they said by Saturday. So now it's obviously before Saturday, which is amazing. But again, that was supposed to be this coming Saturday. So at least that's
they
good.
did. They said they were going to. Sorry.
Lauren, good job this morning, Lauren. Well, morning for me. I don't know what it is for you.
No, it's very late. T, you in that room. That room is crazy.
I don't even, I try not to go in there. I really do. There's such rabid, anti-Semitic pieces of garbage.
Oh, I had no clue. And then, sorry, Meg Z, sorry, I don't know your actual name. Sorry, I should. Came in and whatever. And I was just like, I'm not going to let them push me down. And they're a bunch of buffoons. I'm sorry.
Big time.
So when they released Berger, they forced her to wear a fake military uniform for the handover.
Yeah. And I think CNN reported that she was released in the uniform that she was captured in, which is complete nonsense because she was captured in pajama.
Right.
Yeah. And like all the report I'm reading says it's not a real uniform. It was done to try to look like an IDF uniform.
But
and,
the 3 girls released on Saturday also had to smile, had to do their part again. I mean, how absolutely horrific. But, I mean, again, from the other side of the world, I was watching with so much, bated breath. And that's what I'm saying. The 4th girl literally killed my heart. It's like, jeepers, let's just hope it comes out with a good outcome. But to watch the 3 girls that were released on Saturday, that they have to smile, that they have to, put their hands up and wave, was just really not okay.
You should see the release today. Today was complete chaos. It was really scary. It was like piles of people that was like, it was like chaos. It was not like a ceremony like they did like last week. It was a handover in the middle of like a crowd of people.
It was horrifying, Daniel. Horrifying.
Yes. It was. I couldn't breathe until they got to the Red Cross, which are like also kind of so useless.
I'm not gonna lie. I really thought that she could get attacked from that mob. Like those animals.
Yeah, this is why I couldn't breathe. This is why I couldn't breathe until she was out.
Yes.
Like I literally was like on the edge of my seat, like waiting for confirmation that she got into the car because I could barely see her in this crowd. And
I
also this
couldn't even imagine what
81-year-old
was
man.
going through her brain. Like, are they gonna noose me? Are they gonna hang me? Are they gonna shoot me? Like, she just looked so terrified, and the whole scene was just a horror movie. A horror movie.
And she was also she met with the Hamas medical officer before turning over to the Red Cross, and they're on this like public stage, and the two embrace.
What do you mean?
They were the medical officer and Berger were embraced on stage.
And what's kind of the thought pattern on this BB family? Because again, I'm on the other side of the world and we just hear it, and I literally do everything to try and watch the news and see it, and there's always bias of whatever channel you're watching. But I mean, this BB family is hectic. So like, Bibas, sorry. Is there a feel like they're alive?
The fear is that they're not alive, but now Israel demanded that they would get a confirmation regarding the state so they can prepare their family in advance. But because they were not released, the assumption is that they're not alive. Because otherwise, according to the deal, first the female and then the males.
Honey,
and also the children.
What leverage does Israel have at the moment after having signed already the agreement? Like, how can they say, okay, now, but we want you to send us the list of the people that are alive or some proof or whatever? Like, what is the leverage that they have at the moment in order to get this? I mean, they cannot break the agreement because otherwise the international community will eat them.
Well, I'm not sure that Israel really cares about the international community. It's more about Qatar and the United States that are like the mediators that put guarantees. They are the only one that matters, and I think they are pushing them. Each one has some leverages, like when do we pull out of the Rafah crossing, the Philadelphia corridor? We can still take back Netzarim. No one wants to blow up the deal, so I don't think they will
specific timelines in the agreement?
Yes.
I never translated it from the one you sent.
Yeah. There are timelines.
So,
But there are many holes there in the agreement. Many holes.
So Daniel, am I correct in saying, because I've really been following and whatever, the deal was civilians before military, and if that was the case, the Bibas should have been released as part of the civilians before the military.
Right.
And therefore, they've already broken the deal.
Unless they're dead.
100%.
Because the dead are at the end. Yes, if they're dead, then they come at the end. And they already said like a year ago that they're dead. But they also said about Daniela Gilboa, they already published that she was killed by an airstrike and she was released last week. So this is why we don't really trust those messages that were, a lot of them are like psychological warfare.
Yeah, and the Times of Israel is also reporting that these three are added to the schedule.
What do you mean added to the schedule?
You know your name.
Extend the schedule?
It just
America
literally says,
knows
got the article,
you're a
was added
traitor
to
now.
the schedule after dispute.
Lying pig.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it means.
Kennedy.
Yeah, it was added because it wasn't planned.
And
But
Americans.
what does it mean in terms of like the
No,
final?
you
Does it mean that the
cunt.
schedule is longer?
Lying
Yeah, my understanding is
piece
that
of shit.
the final delivery will still happen on the same date, and that the total is three higher, at least based on what Hamas said earlier.
Well, the last stage is all remaining hostages. So I guess instead of, I think it was 16 or 14.
I don't mean phase 2. I mean.
No, I'm talking about phase 1. The last release of phase 1 is all remaining hostages. So I think the number was 16 or 14. So I guess it will be like 13 or 11.
Oh, maybe.
You are.
Yeah, that could be
Snake.
it. Yes.
And again, Daniel, sorry. So when the deal was made,
saw
it
you
wasn't
yesterday.
really too much about alive or dead, or it was? Sorry, that's just my question.
The first phase is regarding a list that was passed a year ago of
American knows
33 those
who
33
the enemies
exact.
are.
So the first phase is about
You and the
basically
orchestrator.
continuing what was supposed to be the agreement of May last year. So, and then the second phase is all the remaining live ones, which are mostly or only men, what they call military age men, which is anyone
Fuck
I
you,
think
Bernie.
under the age of 60. And then in the third phase will be all the dead people. So the first one is like women, children, and humanitarian cases, which would be old people, injured people, women, and children.
Yeah.
And then my last question, sorry. I'm taking that these survivors that have come back are definitely under Israeli, I don't know what the word is, confinement, so that they are safe. So that if they speak, they are still safe.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because obviously there's going to be many stories that are going to come out. And
I'm sure there's many things that came out like that.
And hopefully they
can't tell us. They have to protect the other hostages, you know, or maybe they're not ready to talk about. Maybe they'll never talk about it.
Yeah, they will not talk as long as other people are there, I guess, and not to risk the other people. But they're already starting to talk. They do share some information about it.
When it's all done, at least they're protected, because obviously they're not going to talk until everyone is back. But at least
They're already protected.
They will be protected for life, because I mean clearly there's going to be stories.
What do you mean in what way protected?
Well, protected that no one can come after them and take them out before they can tell the real story.
Well, I don't think there's a fear for that, to be honest, inside Israel. And they're already starting to share, like we do get bites from people that they share some information with. We do hearing some information about how they were treated, or how many days they were alone, or how many times they were transferred, or what they were asked to do. For example, one told us that she was basically living with a family, with children. She had to cook for them and clean for them, but she was not allowed to eat the food that she cooked. One said that for 50 days she was completely alone in a tunnel. We know who was with who, so we do get information.
So again, Daniel, from across the pond, I have also heard that one of the girls, I can't tell you the name, I'm just saying we heard he had to almost become like a domestic worker, whatever, but at least she was treated okay, as an example. So that was one of the stories we've heard. Then you look at the others. So again, across the pond, we see that Israel released the hostages. Okay, sorry, I'm using the wrong word. What I'm saying is, when they released, everyone looked so pretty. They got released from Israel, which I think is propaganda. And again, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm asking questions. So we look at both spectrums and say, as someone who doesn't live in that embankment and is seeing it from the outside, we see different.
Happened. That's what it feels like. Like I was already coming here about the Colombian president.
In the known world within the first minute and 12 seconds of that speech. And in a follow-up statement, he said that America needs to be more concerned and needs to be more directly concerned, with the lives and everyday lives of the black citizens down here. He said it's all right to talk about long white robes over yonder and all of its symbolism, but ultimately people need some suits and dresses and shoes to wear down here. And what we need to do is go to these stores.
In most private sector buyouts. So I thought the CEO was being gaslit, just like gaslit me 30 seconds ago. I've done some.
No, CEO wasn't being gaslit. CEO just doesn't know what he's talking about, which is why he thought the offer offered by Trump's federal government was a decent one. It wasn't.
If you're 25 and you work with the Social Security office for, 2 years, 4 years, whatever, and you know what? I'm making $50,000. I want to try something else. This could be the spur to get you to go somewhere else. I mean, everybody doesn't want to be a lifelong government employee. Yeah, I know many people think that that's true. That's the end all and be all of your hopes and dreams is to work for the government for 30 years. For many people, that's not the case.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And all I'm saying is, under the circumstances, given the way that
Well, that's actually kind of the reason why I got on that guy for saying slurs, just because I probably agree with not normal, but the other guy I said I was talking to earlier that hates Christians. He thinks that Christians are controlled by Jews. I actually
it's interesting because I heard this before from pagan people.
Yeah, there's lots of pagans.
Yes.
I would get along with pagans, and like I was saying, I would get along with this guy. I'm sure I would agree with most things maybe that he says and what he believes. But I'm not, this is the problem that El Norma would have with me, is I'm not a vulgar person. And it's, I believe in civil disobedience, and so it's a lot harder to flip that and try to get me banned. It still happen, I suppose.
It's very
but
to get you
I'm just not a vulgar person.
It's difficult to get you banned now because there's too little people and they're not trying to ban you. And if you get banned, you'll have the first 2 days off.
Or how it's
I'm now waiting for
pronounced correctly. Whatever. Happy Chinese New Year. Okay, I guess what we could call it. Yeah, it's called Tet in Vietnamese. I won't tell you what lawn means in Vietnamese, but every time I'm introduced to a Vietnamese person, they say, and this is my friend Lon, they go, but anyway, it is Chinese New Year's, and this is the year of the snake, or to be more romantic about it, it's the year of the dragon. And dragons are big in all sorts of cultures, including our own. So today I thought, in honor of the Lunar New Year, in Crowley's The Vision and the Voice, which is a chronicle of visions that Crowley received over a period of time, most of which he received after marching all day long across the North African Sahara with Victor Newberg. You hear the story, Victor Newberg in a turban and a like a diaper chained to a camel. I don't think that really happened, but anyway, he and Victor Newberg, and at the end of the day, they would they would camp, I guess, and scry the next Enochian Aether. Well, in Crowley's case, in Aleister Crowley's case, it was more than just an Enochian magic Aether meditation, which we all can do. As a matter of fact, I recommend that we all do it. But that series of 30 visions were at the time synchronized with Crowley's major personal initiatory adventure. So in other words, this was a serious trip up the Enochian equivalent, up the Tree of Life, but there's 30 sections instead of 10, that slowly turned up the frequency of consciousness from his head to Godhead in 30 sequential visions. And so his experiences were concerned with him personally in his role of sort of a prophet of humanity as well as his own personal thing, which in a sense, all of you and me, all of our initiatory experiences in our initiatory journey has relevance to not only everybody, but the entire universe, right down to subatomic particles and great galaxies. Like the song, when you fall in love, you change everything. Sun, moon, galaxies are created. Your genes are mutated. But in the second to the last, the second to the highest Aether, and Crowley has gone through all sorts of adventures, and they're chronicled in The Vision and the Voice. He's getting to the very, very top. And this is the threshold to the very. So it's incredibly inscrutable, strange, mystic. It's the equivalent of the final challenges, the final things that are overcome before dissolving into the singularity of consciousness. So when Buddha went through it, every figuratively speaking, every demon in hell tried to show up in different disguises and stuff to say, keep him from doing that, because when you do that, it rings a bell that's heard throughout the cosmos. So it's really wild, and Crowley is, I guess we'd say, blessed with the gift of language, and also the gift of being able to relate what's going on verbally, so that Victor Newberg can write it all down. But in this second to the highest Aether, which is called Arn, A-R-N, came through a wonderful song in a lunar language, what he called a lunar language. And it can be translated and everything else, or Crowley eventually could translate it. And there's papers written on it, just say Crowley ARN lunar language, and you'll get all sorts of material concerning it. But there's enough in the vision and the voice itself to give us plenty of information, and that's what I would suggest that you read first. But because it has this lunar language, I thought it might be appropriate just to share just a tiny fragment of that lunar language and its translation, and a few words from his description of his vision to sort of get us in the lunar mood. Now, besides today being Chinese New Year's, or the Lunar New Year, we got seemingly every visible planet in the solar system lining up in a direct line that's not going to repeat itself for the next 400 years. And when you hear people, well, there'll be signs in heaven, and there'll be yes, when the shit hits the fans, there'll be, well, the shit's hitting the fan out there if you're paying attention to world events. Not that I'm saying that the planets lining up have anything to do with that directly, but it's colorfully interesting. Now, the last time a few planets lined up like this, not this many, but something that only happens every few hundred years or so. I forget what the planets were, and actually I forget the date even, but I was working at C.B. Richard Ellis in the accounting department. It had a suit and everything else, and it was up on a hill overlooking the Newport Back Bay. It was a beautiful place, but it was kind of up on a hill. So after work, I would walk out the front door into the parking structure across the street, but I had to sort of walk down the slope. And I had a great shot of western view of the sky as I was coming out, and I thought, gee, I wonder what happens when those planets line up like that. I wonder what happened. And just as soon as I was thinking that, I fell off I told you this story a million times, I fell off my foot and literally tumbled. And I'm a good tumbler. In the YMCA, they said, look, kid, you're going to fall down a lot in life. You're going to have to learn to roll. So I rolled, okay, and because it was downhill, the next roll I did made me go faster, and the next roll made me speed up, and I kept going head over heels in a suit and tie and everything, head over heels into the street, and I hit a car. I hit a little pickup truck that was coming by. Now I know what happens when those, so you be careful today. But I digress. Okay. I'm going to read something a little out of sequence here. Arn, the second Aether, in the comment, synopsis and comment on it. This is the Aether that he describes as the marriage of the seer with Babylon. Now that's right up there across the abyss stuff if we're looking at things in Tree of Life terms. And the comment on that is the understanding of the curse, that's with a capital C, the understanding of the curse that is becoming a blessing. The final reward of the Magister Templi, that's the degree of number 3 on the Tree of Life. His marriage, even with Babylon herself. The pain thereof, or the chant or the song thereof. Okay. I'm going to read what he has written after this song I'm going to sing to you. Don't worry, I'll just chant it. It says, and that which thou hearest is but the dropping of the dew from my limbs, for I dance in the night, naked upon the grass, in shadowy places, running by streams, or by running streams. Many are they who have loved the nymphs of the woods, and of the wells, and of the fountains, and of the hills, And of these, some were nympholet. For it was not a nymph, but myself that walked upon the earth, taking my pleasure. So also there were many images of Pan, and men adored them. And as a beautiful god, he made their olives bear double, and their vines increase. But some were slain by the god, for it was I that had woven the garlands about him. Okay, and that's Babylon talking, or at least the footnote would indicate that. Okay, listen to this. Now, and excuse my pronunciation. I'll do it first, and then I'll do it with its little translation. All this is the melody of a flute, very faint and clear. And there was a sort of sub-tinkle of a bell. And there's a stringed instrument, somewhat like a zither. And there is a human voice. And the voice comes. This is the song of the Sphinx, which she singeth ever in the ears of men. And it is the song of the sirens, and whoever heareth it is lost. Mupatalai, tuwa melai, tufutulu, Pasaga. Quimu telai, yapu melai, segu melai, pefu telai, fu tu lu. Ochai belae, wapa melae. Tout, que fou la trahi, les fous malai, coûte, hout, nout. Aïe, oh aïe, relmo aïe, ti. Voilà, Pelai, tu fous la taille. Oui, ni, bi. And here's the translation. I'll do it, there's only 4 verses. So this, I'm getting ready to translate this. Mupatelai, tuwa melai, tulu, pasaga. Silence, the moon ceaseth her motion. That also was sweet in the air. Who will shall attain, attain, by the moon and by myself and by the angel of the Lord. Now, if you're looking for a motto, who will shall attain is pretty damn good. And that would be the tufutulu, who will shall attain. Okay, the second verse. Quimu telai, wapu melai, segu melai, tefu telai, fu tu lu. Now silence ceases, and the moon waxes sweet. It is the hour of initiation Initiation. Initiation. The kiss of Isis is honeyed. My own will is ended, for will hath attained. Now that's something you hear out of the mouth of somebody on the other side of the abyss. I digress. Okay, the next number 3 verse goes. Now the suffix on here changes from IE or AI to AE. So it's a Ochai Belai. Excuse me. Ochai Belae. Wapa Melae. Oot, oot, oot. Gefut talat. And then here it returns back to IE suffix. Gefu latrai. Lefu melai.
And I started running next to the train, and it was going very fast, and my feet were getting under, like close to the rails, and I was thinking, shit, like,
oh my God.
Yeah, like this is it. And the guy that was inside, he was trying to open the door, and he couldn't. He was yelling, and then he was just, he
oh my God.
the emergency thing, and then the train just stopped very abruptly, and I flew,
Oh my God.
And I was on Clubhouse on mute, and nobody would have known that I died,
Oh my God, my heart is racing.
We were live one time. Someone on here almost had their balls ripped off.
You were in the Matrix.
Can you describe your train of thought when that happened to you?
I don't know. I was just thinking that that was it, But people were talking in my ears because I had them on my AirPods, and they wouldn't stop. Like, yeah, they were just chill and chatting and whatever. And I was yelling, It was, I don't know. It was horrible.
She totally missed it. Wasn't it?
Wasn't it Shane that was?
Trey, you need to fix that connection.
Fuck. Any better?
Yes, we heard those 2 words.
Didn't we have someone get in a motorcycle accident and almost ripped their ball sack off one time in here?
He wasn't on when it happened.
That was, that was Talos.
Oh, that was Talos. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, who really needs your ball sack?
No one else but yours.
You need to have balls in order to deserve a ball sack first.
Now we do. Last year we didn't.
Yeah, that's why Drake's wife holds on to his balls for safekeeping.
Oh, Chris, you're definitely not the one to speak on that.
Yeah, dude. Come on.
I don't actually think that. I just think a joke.
That was good, though. That was good. It's fun.
I'm taking shit from my bottom.
Dave, why do you have a buffalo on your PTR? Did he take that photo?
Eternia, a land of beauty and power. Wait.
That is not a buffalo.
What is it?
A muskox. And I'm going to start a muskox milking business.
Oh,
Is
God.
your CEO?
Once America takes over Greenland, me and Andrew are going to partner up.
But you would pronounce it Muskox. You said Muskok.
Yeah. I missed that one too.
Oh.
And Chris, to your message in the chat, it's not they had went, it's they had gone.
I wish Jimmy was in here. I need to ask him, when is the delusion going to be accretive?
Has British model not been here since the delusion has not been accretive?
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in here in a while, but then again, I haven't been in as much. Yeah, he's on that different time schedule now, so we don't see him as frequently.
He was here for a brief moment, maybe an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, I wonder what the time is there. It's probably like 9:30, 9:40 p.m., I'm guessing.
Okay, like 6 hours ahead, 6 and a half.
You talking about the East Coast?
Something about Dubai.
I think he's 13 hours ahead.
It's 6:43 there.
Yes. 6:43, that's right.
Yeah, it sounds like an excuse. I think he just is embarrassed that delusion is not accretive.
When is MSTR earnings? I think it's soon.
They don't earn things.
They don't do earnings. They just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, they do earnings. I think it's today.
Negative 12 cents. Per share.
Hey, if they dilute the shares, then the per share loss would be smaller, right?
I'm not good at maths.
No, they report 2.5 after hour. So next week.
MSTR 15 minute chart looking great.
Are we rich again?
We got a long way to go on MSTR.
When does the title say Bitcoin's flipping?
There's a Trump Bitcoin watch. This is for real.
Yeah, it's gaudy as shit, huh? Orange knockoff Rolex.
Oh, somebody PTR.
Is that like a sub? Is that trying to be like some sort of submariner?
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
Norway's central bank owns 500 million.
Norway.
Why did you call it a Trump Bitcoin watch? It's obviously the Trump crypto watch, John.
I don't know that it has anything to do with Trump.
It does. It has a Bitcoin on the back. It has a Bitcoin B on the back.
I just saw
Yeah,
that
but
now.
I don't think that Trump made the fucking watch or any of his affiliates or company.
What do you mean? I definitely think he assembled it by hand, Fish.
But is he selling it on his website? And can you buy it with Salon?
I don't know. I think I saw a proposed community note about it, but I was like, I know nothing about this. I'm not going to rate.
Dude, how about one of my colleagues? We were all flying back from Vegas yesterday, and he lives by DC. He usually flies into there. For some reason, he had a layover at O'Hare. He couldn't get a direct, so no direct had him in O'Hare when the plane crashed. It's just kind of crazy to think.
It was coming out of Kansas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I used to know 2 helicopter pilots in DC.
You now know just one?
They just...
Petunia, a land of beauty and
Like,
power.
they went to the church we were attending.
Who said now it's just one?
Hey, you might win some, but you just lost.
So one of the things that I've been like annoyed by lately, and it's something that's annoyed me a lot in the past, but just lately, it's just been creeping back up there. Kind of like me when I show back up here and annoy you, right? I love when like people are like, no one, or watch, no one's gonna talk about this, or how come no one's talking about that, right? It's like, motherfucker, how do you know who no one, like, when you talk to everyone, like, no one's talking about it, or like...
Well, I mean, and by mentioning it, they're literally proving that somebody is talking about it.
But moreover, like, well, what level is satisfactory, right? So, like, it's a good political tactic. Like, watch, they're not even going to talk about this. It's like, first of all, to Brittany's point, you are talking about it. Second of all, what's a sufficient amount to talk about it? Like, let me give you an example. Helicopter just fucking crashed into a plane. I'm telling you, by tomorrow afternoon at the latest, this is going to be outside of your brain. And a helicopter crashed into a plane over the fucking nation's capital. That could be a terrorist attack for like 7 seconds. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to forget about it tomorrow. And you want me to fucking care about the one thing that's on your brain in a way where I forgot about some fucking child sex ring in some fucking part of the world where 200,000 people died in some part. I'm sorry. It's a lot of shit that's happening, and I can't talk about all of it. And just because we're not talking about it right this moment doesn't mean no one's talking about it. And it's not a conspiracy.
But John, did you know that the FAA removed the requirement for military aircraft to always have their transponder beacons turned on over the U.S. Like 4.5 years?
Yeah, why is nobody talking about that?
Yeah, why is no one talking about that? See, the thing is, like, Biden...
Did you know...
4.5 years ago. Would Biden
it must be a conspiracy.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out... Does that mean Trump was... Okay, so you're telling me that they just... This is all like... You know what this is? This is the Democrats waiting for Trump to come back into office so that they could do this then and blame it on him from... That's... Dude.
Do you know that Russians have a history of cheating in figure skating?
How come no one's talking about that?
They have a long history of, like...
Oh my God, Chris. That's such a good point. Putin did it.
How do you cheat at figure skating?
You kill the whole figure skating team.
They fuck the Canadians.
Team on the fucking...
Yeah, the U.S.
Yeah. They triple spiraled right into the fucking ground and didn't stick the landing.
Dude, this is all Hoddle's fault talking about being able to do a triple axel. This is clearly...
I told him it should have been a hockey
too soon. Too soon.
Here, I've got a more important question. Should I be concerned that I just shut my computer down. It's not plugged in my laptop, and for some reason the numlock key is still lit.
How come no one's talking about that, bro?
It's China.
You're a numlock.
Bro, you're hacked. Yeah, you better put that shit outside.
You're a numlock.
Sometimes white people, they break their spaghetti, and nobody talk about.
I mean, we do need to talk about that.
So I hit the numlock key to see if it would stop lighting up, and it did. It turned off, but the whole keyboard backlight lit up. That's fucking bizarre.
Well, it's safe to assume your computer is not off.
Yeah, I know. But I need to put it in my bag and take it somewhere, so it'd be nice if it would turn off. This is very important.
Can you pop the battery out?
No.
You asked it nicely.
I close the lid on my laptop and toss it in my bag all the time.
Yeah. And I may pull it out with flames coming out.
Because a BIOS update or an update on your computer, it should stay on for about 5 minutes and reboot and stuff, and then it'll turn off after that.
So that's a good point about closing the lid and stick it in your bag. I've always done that also, and usually just leave it sleeping. For some reason, this is my work computer, and it's like a fucking 14-pound computer. It's got a dedicated graphics and shit. It's huge. But for some reason, it a year ago, it started having this tendency to not really stay asleep in my bag, and then it would turn on and overheat and crash the whole system. And then when I would turn it back on, it would be like there's a problem and shut down due to overheating. Or I would pull it out of the bag and it would be cooking hot. So I just always turn it off now.
I just have a new computer.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Your battery hit the end of its life, so either replace the battery or just get a new computer. Those are your only options.
106.
Yeah. Good question. I made some racist.
Okay. You're talking about you being a racist? Go ahead.
Yeah. Apparently, I guess I got some slack yesterday for my comments about eliminating the black people by having a swimming competition in your feature strength. Apparently, that was considered racist. I understand it's racist.
Yeah.
But is it too racist for this room?
Yeah.
That is.
What's funny?
We will not accept racism here.
Chris, what's funny is that's a joke. That's a joke that most people in the room could get away with, but not you for some reason. I don't know.
John can't get away with it anymore either, too.
Yeah. I'm out.
Well, because y'all are betas.
Yeah, I was meaning to talk to you about that, dude. It was really
bottoms, not betas. Bottoms.
Yo, MSCU is up 6.15% exactly. Is it an omen? I think so.
How many black swimmers are there? I don't see Michael Phelps. Is there how come we don't see that?
You don't see Michael Phelps? What?
I'm saying where's the black Michael Phelps out there?
If he knew how to swim, he would be crushing it right now.
He's running routes in the NFL.
I literally say he's shooting 3-pointers.
Well, that's racist.
Because Steph Curry made more than Michael Phelps in his entire career in the month of March.
I mean, listen, I think we all know that black people are the best athletes on the planet, right? Is there a question on that?
No.
We're talking about
that's not a real sport, John, and we all know that.
White people have hockey and swimming.
No, I mean white people are really good athletes too. It's just they're a notch under black people as a whole, you know.
You know when table tennis became not a real sport? When Forrest Gump won the title.
You know who are really bad athletes?
That's fair.
But they turned into pickleball.
Indians are the worst athletes.
Yeah, they just come and take the money in business.
Indians are the worst athletes.
Because they look like a bag of milk.
That's part of it, and they hold pinkies down the street as men. But if right now, the national sport of India is fucking cricket, I think. And if you were to right now just take 20 guys from the major leagues, they would all just be the 20 best cricket players on the planet.
You know what's interesting is Asian people don't do that many sports, but when they do, they go all in and fucking dominate it. Like gymnastics.
Asians do.
I think Asians are the most coordinated people around. Like their reaction time, like they're phenomenal at like fine twitch, like shit like that. But like when it comes,
not smooth. They're the
but
worst
the problem,
coaches ever, unless they're Filipino.
but the problem is they're so small that they can only do so much.
They're so small.
Right, like
they can only do so much.
That's why gymnastics is good.
Yeah.
Well, they're also really good at.
Introduction. 1. The book. This book was dictated in Cairo between noon and 1 p.m. on 3 successive days, April 8th, 9th, and 10th in the year 1904. The author called himself Aiwas and claimed to be the minister of Hur-Par Krat, that is, a messenger from the forces ruling this earth at present, as will be explained later on. How could he prove that he was, in fact, a being of a kind superior to any of the human race, and so entitled to speak with authority? Evidently, he must show knowledge and power, such as no man has ever been known to possess. He showed his knowledge chiefly by the use of cipher or cryptogram in certain passages to set forth recondite facts, including some events which had yet to take place, such that no human being could possibly be aware of them. Thus, the proof of his claim exists in the manuscript itself. It is independent of any human witness. The study of these passages necessarily demands supreme human scholarship to interpret. It needs years of intense application. A great deal has still to be worked out, but enough has been discovered to justify his claim. The most skeptical intelligence is compelled to admit its truth. This matter is best studied under the Master Therion, whose years of arduous research have led him to enlightenment. On the other hand, the language of most of the book is admirably simple, clear, and vigorous. No one can read it without being stricken in the very core of his being. The more than human power of Aiwas is shewn by the influence of his master and of the book upon actual events, and history fully supports the claim made by him. These facts are appreciable by everyone, but are better understood with the help of the Master Therion. The full detailed account of the events leading up to the dictation of this book, with facsimile reproduction of the manuscript and an essay by the Master Therion, is published in The Equinox of the Gods. 2. The Universe. This book explains the universe. The elements are Nuit, space, that is, the total of possibilities of every kind, and Hadit, any point which has experience of these possibilities. This idea is, for literary convenience, symbolized by the Egyptian goddess Nuit, a woman bending over like the arch of the night sky. Hadit is symbolized as a winged globe at the heart of Nuit. Every event is a uniting of some one monad with one of the experiences possible to it. Every man and every woman is a star. That is, an aggregate of such experiences, constantly changing with each fresh event, which affects him or her either consciously or subconsciously. Each one of us has thus a universe of his own, but it is the same universe for each one as soon as it includes all possible experience. This implies the extension of consciousness to include all other consciousness. In our present stage, the object that you see is never the same as the one I see. We infer that it is the same because your experience tallies with mine on so many points that the actual differences of our observation are negligible. For instance, if a friend is walking between us, you see only his left side, I see his right. But we agree that it is the same man, although we may differ not only as to what we may see of his body, but as to what we know of his qualities. This conviction of identity grows stronger as we see him more often and get to know him better. Yet all the time, neither of us can know anything of him at all beyond the total impression made on our respective minds. The above is an extremely crude attempt to explain a system which reconciles all existing schools of philosophy. 3. The Law of Thelema. This book lays down a simple code of conduct. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. This means that each of us stars is to move on our own true orbit, as marked out by the nature of our position, the law of our growth, the impulse of our past experiences. All events are equally lawful, and every one necessary in the long run, for all of us, in theory. But in practice, only one act is lawful for each one of us at any given moment. Therefore, duty consists in determining to experience the right event from one moment of consciousness to another. Each action or emotion is an act of love, the uniting with one or another part of nuit. Each such act must be under will, chosen so as to fulfill and not to thwart the true nature of the being concerned. The technical methods of achieving this are to be studied in magic, or acquired by personal instruction from the Master Therion and his appointed assistants. 4. The New Eon.